It's the Mariners Youth Lockdown.
Well, hello and welcome to another of our videos. I'm Amy and I'm a youth leader. So this week's video is going to follow on from our last video, which was about Pentecost. This week's video is all about the gifts of the Spirit. So without further ado, today's video is called The Gifts of the Spirit. Now when I say spirit, I don't mean any old sausage of a spirit, okay? I don't mean I mean the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit came down at Pentecost, as we talked about, and bestowed these gifts upon us when we asked for them. Now, on the day of Pentecost, a very specific set of gifts were given to the disciples because actually it was a very important moment. They needed to talk to people, get that message out there. But actually it talks later on in 1 Corinthians 12 about a whole host of different gifts that we may be given by the Holy Spirit. And don't be fooled into thinking, oh my gosh, if I don't have this one specific gift, I'm not a Christian, I'm not baptized in the Holy Spirit, because that ain't true. That just ain't true. So, ladies and gentlemen, in order of appearance in 1 Corinthians 12, we have wisdom, knowledge, faith, healing, miraculous powers, prophecy, distinguishing between spirit and spirit, and finally, tongues. So guys, wisdom. I am a wise old man. What do you mean kitchen paper? This is my beard. I'll show you kitchen paper. I mean, I'm a wise old man. I don't hit people. What do you mean a beard doesn't give you wisdom? Of course it does. It's where the power of all wisdom comes from, is a beard. That's why I spent so long perfecting mine, making it so thick and papery. Anyway, I don't know what you're on about. Paper is the best thing for a beard. Beard is the best thing for wisdom. Moving on. So guys, what is the difference between wisdom, knowledge, and prophecy? Knowledge. It must be back to me again. What do you mean it's not back to me? Aren't knowledge and wisdom very similar things? No, your bit's done now. No, I'm going to take you up. I know there's a difference, but could I actually explain to you guys what the difference is? I'm not sure I could, so I had to do a bit of research on my own. Here is what I found. So, wisdom and knowledge and prophecy. So to start with, the difference between prophecy and knowledge. So knowledge is current, prophecy tends to be future. So if I'm praying, you have a word that's caterpillar, that's your word of knowledge, caterpillar. I have no idea if it's past, present, future. First thing I'm going to do is ask God for wisdom as to what to do with that information. Don't interpret. Don't be like, ooh, when I know such and such was doing lots of gardening at the moment, so maybe it's for them. Don't think about it, just give it, okay? You need to ask God, what do I do with it? Now I have this knowledge, what do I do? And that's wisdom. We get the knowledge or the prophecy, and then we ask for wisdom. What do we do with that? Faith, the gift of faith. The gift of faith sounds like a weird one. You're like, surely we've all got faith, Amy, surely. It's a supernatural faith. It's a faith that encourages others beyond everything, all the troubles and difficulties that we might be experiencing. It goes beyond that and it brings joy and encouragement to everyone around us. Healing! Oh yeah. Now healing. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Scar? Nearly no scar. Nearly no scar. Makeup, wouldn't it? No. Miraculous powers. Miraculous powers. I find it really interesting because I don't think that we practice probably half of what we could be practicing. It says it right here that the Holy Spirit gives the gifts of miraculous powers. When I read that, I'm like, when was the last time I saw a miraculous power that wasn't kind of healing? Which is in itself miraculous. It absolutely is. Healing is amazing. But anything beyond that, I'm trying to think of a moment. I've heard of things out in Africa of people being raised from the dead. Now that's miraculous. And I think actually we forget and actually we underestimate that actually things like that can happen and that the Holy Spirit is within us. Distinguishing between spirit and spirit. Distinction between spirits. Now this one is an interesting one because I think it definitely ties into some wisdom as well. And I think that some of these do kind of go together as well. You know, it's not just, oh, you have this one gift. Just because you don't have that gift every day or that gift every Sunday or every time you talk to God, however often you feel like you practice the gifts of the Spirit, you know, regularly, doesn't mean it can't happen. It doesn't mean you shouldn't explore that. Don't be afraid just because you don't feel it's not your gifting. Distinguishing between spirit and spirit. So the gift of distinguishing between spirits. I feel that this is one of my gifts, and it's kind of a funny one. It's almost like you're able to see through what people are telling you. I learnt to listen to that knowledge and that understanding of being able to distinguish between what people say and what's really going on in their hearts between them and God, and what really is from God and what isn't. Good. You there? Let me see your face. The gift of tongues, and going along with the gift of interpretation of tongues. Actually, there's 3 different types of tongues. Yeah, so it's kind of a language between you and the Holy Spirit, which sounds like a lot of gobbledygook to someone who's kind of an outsider and is like, what the heck is going on there? They're speaking a load of gobbledygook. It sounds very weird. It's kind of you praying and the Holy Spirit interceding in your place. That's like a personal tongue. The second type of tongues, which is a tongue that is more for church. I grew up with it in my church. Basically, someone stands up and they speak what sounds like gobbledygook, and then they sit down, and my church used to wait and say, no, we need to wait for the interpretation. And then someone would stand up and they would interpret these tongues, and they would normally be a word of knowledge, or directly speaking from God, or a word of prophecy. The third type of tongue is actually just speaking languages that are on this earth already, but that we don't speak. Now, why do we really have these gifts of the Spirit? To build each other up, to build ourselves as a church, because using the gifts of the Spirit will encourage us. We're getting words of knowledge, wisdom as to how to use them, words of prophecy. We're speaking in tongues, interpreting those tongues. We're discerning things and making sure that everything that we do is from God. We're encouraging each other in our faith. Let's use these gifts. It's really to encourage the church and to grow us as a church, because if we're using these gifts of the Spirit, then man, we can do amazing things. The only bit of advice I'd say is, before you go saying anything to anyone, there are 3 things you should measure everything up to. Is it matching up with the Bible? Is it matching up what I know of God? And does it encourage and build up that person? If it matches up to those 3, go for it. Okay, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll see you next time. Bye.